Welcome to Tapped In. This is Dave Figueroa-Martinez of DFM Coaching, and this is going to be the audio companion to The Lost Boys, The Way Back, How Jiu-Jitsu Can Give Men or Young Men Purpose. So this article should be dropping, I believe, Friday, and this audio will drop the following week. And how do I put this? I think that this country is having an issue with young men and boys feeling almost left behind. I will not and don't think that it's a war on boys. I think that there's a host of issues that are taking place currently that are not allowing boys to be boys in a certain way. And I would argue that's things like mental health stigma. It's a really weird time right now. You're having issues where men don't feel like they can be emotionally open, and I struggle with that to some degree. I never want someone to think that I'm soft in a sense. So in some degrees, in some environments, you're supposed to hide the emotions. Like I'm at work, I'm not going to let that out. But when I'm at home or when I got time to dive into those emotions, I do. But there's this weird connotation with men and young men where we feel like we need to hide our emotions and be stoic all the time, and the only emotions we're allowed to share are anger or being tired. And those aren't great elements or ways to express yourself. There's a lack of positive role models as well. There's a lot of abandonment when it comes to young boys, children in general. Young boys specifically have an issue or a mountain to climb when it comes to trying to get some kind of positive male role model to give us attention. Without going too far into it, my dad was in the picture. He was married to my mother the entire time growing up. But he wasn't necessarily involved. So I didn't have a father figure in that sense that guided me. So what do? You start looking outside the house. Sometimes the people around the community are not great people to guide children. Sometimes currently I think we're looking at podcasters and we're looking at political figures that maybe don't have the best approach to life, but they sound like they know what they're doing. You could also factor in the harmful content online. It is really easy to feel like you're a piece of shit because you don't have a house at 28, 25. You haven't graduated from college at a certain age. You didn't start a family at a certain age. And when you're online and all you're seeing is everyone's successes, you can have issues of feeling like a piece of shit or that you haven't accomplished anything. So that underachievement becomes an issue if you don't have any confidence or you haven't done anything in your late teens and early 20s. And if I wouldn't be honest if I didn't give some feedback and say that it's also a little bit of male fragility and evolving norms. I think that as women continue to strive forward and mark their place in society, they're stepping into positions of power. They're stepping into positions of financial freedom that weren't in place a couple of decades ago, or that weren't in place generations ago. So they can be pickier. They can understand that I don't have to settle for someone just because they have a decent paycheck. I don't have to settle for someone because they're able to give me a roof. No, I can get that myself now. So now some men are feeling like they're being left behind because they don't have partners and they don't have that the aspect or that transition where I can date, because women don't want to date me because I'm a little bit of a piece of shit. So I think there's a whole host of things that are going on. Some of them imagined, some of them genuine, some of them due to parenting, that are creating a subculture within men where they start relying heavily on far right ideas and opinions, and they're following the Tates and the Joe Rogans, and they're these guys that they're not all bad, but they have alarming opinions on things, and we start getting this weird view of what masculinity should be. When it comes to jiu-jitsu, I think it can help, and it's not limited to jiu-jitsu. It can be wrestling, it can be judo, it can be boxing, it can be internships to trades, it can be a whole host of things. So this isn't specific to jiu-jitsu, but I think where it helps is that it gives you a lot of things like structure and discipline. You start to understand that the amount of time that I put in and the focus that I put in can give me an outcome that's far better than the one that I have. I am going to make a lot of mistakes along that path. But it's okay, because the mistakes are going to form better habits, and they're going to form understandings of what works and doesn't work. It stops me from being so nervous about failure. Like right now, when I watch young men, they don't want to take a chance on anything. They're stuck. And part of that, I think, is partly parenting. We have a generation of parents who want to be lawnmower parents or helicopter parents, and they want to take out anything that might make their children uncomfortable. And again, I had a father who approached me when I was teaching kids a while back, and he had asked me, like, he had a boy and girl, can you play games in the class that don't have winners and losers? And I think that this is part of, because there's a demographic of parents that want to make things as smooth as possible for their kid. And I remember looking at him internally, I was confused because it wasn't how I was raised. We played games all day. You got better at them, or you just found another game that you really liked. But when I responded to him, I said, I understand what your concerns are, but I guarantee you they're going to adjust. They were stay-at-home kids, and that process was new for them. So they didn't know how to lose. And I didn't go into in depth, but I really felt like once they adjusted, because they did, and they started to play, they got better at them. And he and I never discussed it ever again. But my thought process is, if parents are guiding or manipulating the environment around their kids so that there are no hurdles, you're going to become a young adult man in the situation. And you're not going to understand how to deal with failure, how to deal with rejection, how to deal with no. You're not going to understand how to pick up skills, because the skills are going to require you to suck. And because you don't like being bad at something, you quit and you don't put time into developing a skill. These are all inherently part of, I think, the bigger issue. So instead of looking at everything that way, let's start looking at, let's get boys, because that's what I'm speaking to, into physical sports or trades or skill building endeavors that force them outside of the house, outside of their comfort zone, and get really comfortable with failure. I can remember moments where I failed, and I can remember moments that I failed and they were really emotional when it comes to jiu-jitsu. But I remember them specifically, like they were yesterday. But they were building blocks to everything else. So now I'm in a position where I'm teaching and I'm coaching and I'm going out of my way to put myself out there that I would not have done beforehand. So we have to let boys and young men find these moments of failure earlier than when they're outside of the house or they're approaching adulthood. It has to be sooner. Another aspect of that jiu-jitsu is going to give you is having a third place. I have never been in any environment, even the Army, where I was around so many different types of people. If you're encapsulated in a specific group, whether you're at home majority and you're online majority of the time, and you're around the same type of people, you're going to get a very narrow view of the world. When I jumped into Jiu-Jitsu, I was rolling with stoners, police officers, firemen, people who were doing lab work, doctors, chiropractors, people who own their own business, people who were stay-at-home moms. Like the whole gamut is part of that. People who were fixing cars, people who had their own businesses, contracts, like that whole gamut opened my eyes to what was possible in the world. I had never really met business owners, for example. Being at Jiu-Jitsu gave me insight to how someone ran a business or what kind of business they got into, what they had to do for the business. So these are things that open up our world. So again, get your kids, young men, get into Jiu-Jitsu or something like it. There's nothing, it's going to open up your field of vision unlike anything before. The other aspect that you're going to get, in my opinion, is mentorship. It's super important for men to have mentors. Without them, we start gravitating to people who are not great for us, and we pick up really shitty habits, whether it's how to treat women, how to treat kids, how to be fathers, how to work effectively. We just get into these habits because of the shitty people that we're around. But when you have a mentor, someone who's in a profession that can guide you, whether that's your jiu-jitsu instructor or maybe someone else that's a higher belt, but they're in a field or a trade that you want to get into, they can guide you. And that guidance is priceless. There's nothing like it. There's nothing remotely like it to have someone that you could bounce ideas off of that can hold you accountable. Like, there are few instances where I go somewhere and I have a mentor that will say, "Hey, David, you're a little out of line here. You're getting a little lazy." Or, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a week. What's going on?" And just that you can be genuine with and answer questions. And, "Hey, I'm having doubts of where I want to continue here. I'm having doubts of, I just got promoted to blue belt and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm having this issue with work and I don't know if I want to continue doing this job or if I want to go do somewhere else." Mentorship is going to be huge, and it doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu. Again, I have a mentor at work who I absolutely love, and I can bounce any idea off. I don't necessarily have a mentor at the moment in jiu-jitsu, but I had one when I was white to blue, and he was fantastic. I credit him with a large portion of why my game is the way it is and why I teach the way I do. So as this country starts to move a little bit further right and you start seeing things with the political atmosphere, this is all part of that. And to the people who will undoubtedly tell me, you need to keep politics out of jiu-jitsu and let's just roll. And I get that. I get the want of that. I want that too. But I also think that there's a responsibility that gym owners and jiu-jitsu instructors and coaches need to have, where they understand the people that they're coaching, the people they're trying to get on the mats, the people they're trying to keep on the mats, and understand that because they're people, they're complicated, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into people. Politics being one of them, culture being one of them, society being another, and all those things wrap into what we're trying to do. And if we ignore aspects of it, it doesn't do us any good. So I hope you liked the article. I hope you liked the audio that accompanied it with it. Any feedback, questions, comments, I would love to hear back. Thank you for listening.